Hey, welcome to Yoga Mouth Homeschool. I'm Christy.
My name's Phil.
And this workout's for you, Mindless Hulk. I want to talk to you combat athletes out there, you MMA fighters, Jiu Jitsu practitioners, and anyone out there who's getting their joints ripped, torn, and bent on a daily basis for fun. This workout can be a warm-up. It can be a cool-down. It can be a day-off stretch. It can be something you share with your entire gym to help strengthen, stabilize, and prevent injury. Come to your back. We're going to start in bridge pose. Heels come to his butt as close as possible for stability. So your knees are going to be hips width apart and his palms are face down. Slowly, carefully press the weight of your body into your heels. Scoop your hips up and lift. Now you have a space underneath your body. Take your hands underneath your body, interlace, and pull towards your heels. You'll notice you'll start to press into the balls of your feet. Chest rises up towards your chin. Chin gently pulls away from the chest. Letting go of your hands, bring them up and overhead. Keeping the hips, the legs, the thighs, the butt, everything squeezing up and in. If your knees are falling out, bring them back together. Hips width, imagine you're squeezing something heavy up. Hands come back down, palms to the mat. Now you'll lift your right leg straight up. As you do that, notice if you have any hip roll. If your hips start to shift, try to bring them back to center. Use your core, use your glutes, bring it back to center. Take that leg down, stabilize, press the hips up. Now the left leg rises. Pressing up, 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 and then bring that left foot down. You're almost there, hips rise up. Interlace the hands underneath the back, pull towards the heels. Let it go, hands to your sides, and one vertebra at a time. Resist the urge to drop. One vertebra, lower yourself down. Hips are the last things to touch. And enjoy the trip. Feel that release through the lower back. Walk the feet wider than the hips, and let your knees fall in toward one another. A little commentary from the baby section. And now you'll bring your legs back to center. And take that left foot, bring it back in line with the left hip. So if it's wider than your hip, walk it back. And cross the right leg over that left thigh. You have your triangle window, you'll take that right arm, reach around, grab the left thigh. So pull that left thigh in as you use that right elbow to press out through the right thigh. You can find stillness here and hold the pose, or if it feels better and it helps to remind you where you're tense, you can rock back and forth. Feel the body adjust. Go ahead and bring that down. Put both feet to the mat and then cross the left leg over the right thigh. And notice here, you may have a completely different experience on this side of the body. Totally normal. Bring the body back down. Rolling onto your side, you're going to come onto your belly. You'll sink your hips towards your heels, tops of the feet to the mat. And you have two options here. Phil's taking the split leg version, and what he's done is bring his big toes together and his knees are wide like this. He has the option to bring the thighs together and roll over for an arch of the back. Your hands are out in front. Walk your hands forward. Feel the sides of your body stretch. Take a few breaths here. Feel the back rise and fall. And then palms face up. The rotation happens not just through flipping the wrists, but he starts to rotate through the elbow crease and even into the armpit. They're very subtle, slight movements, but you'll feel the adjustment through the whole side and under body. Take a few breaths here. And then bring the palms together in a prayer position. Press the elbows into the floor of the mat and work the hands up and over the head. So this way he is able to get a little bit more into his neck. And to do that, his chin is tucked towards his chest, his back arches slightly, and the elbows press deeply into the floor. Bring those hands back down, and you'll swing them off to the sides of your body, palms face up once again. So you see his shoulders now take a completely different turn. And now the arms are going to walk back out in front of your body. Curl the toes underneath your body and lift the hips for downward facing dog. Allow this downward facing dog to be dynamic. So add movement where movement is needed for you. You'll walk your feet wider than your hips here. So now he's in his split leg forward fold, arms are out in front. You'll walk those hands back underneath the body. Bend your knees as much as you need to. If you can't touch the ground, you have options to walk your feet wider or to bend your knees deeper. And then check your feet. So you want to look at the edges of the feet to see if they're parallel to one another. If your toes are pointed too far in or too far out, make that adjustment and feel that sensation up through the knees and the lower back. Press the feet out away from one another. They won't move, but instead you'll act like you're ripping the mat in between your feet. Bring some weight into the balls of your feet, lighten through the heels. Notice that. And then take the weight of your body into the heels and sense that shift. So a whole bunch of different ways to get into the inner and outer thigh here. And then you'll bend the knees, allow the hips to come underneath the body, and like you're lifting something heavy, you're lifting with your legs, not with your back, as you roll up, one vertebra at a time. See how slowly he's taking this. His head and shoulders are the last to lift. Now his arms rise up, and that left hand will grab the right wrist, gently pulling to the opposite side of the body. And then you'll come back to center, and you'll grab right hand will grab the left wrist and gently pull in the other direction. Coming back to center, take your hands behind your back now, interlace the fingers, press the palms away from the body, and start to hinge forward at your hips. But instead of rounding the back, Fell's going to keep a straight, flat back. His butt slides right into his hands like it's sliding across a table. The crown of his head reaches straight forward to where you can go no further. Then allow the hinge at your hips to close and start to fold the rest of the way. Keeping the hands resting on the back, you can pull gently towards your heels, feeling the shoulders pull away from the ears. You may want to take the arms up and overhead. You can shift the palms direction if that feels better for you. And then your arms will come up and over. Not ripping and tearing through anything that's sharp pain. Discomfort is fine. It's okay to be uncomfortable in yoga. Most of the time you are. Bring your hands down to the mat. Walk your hands forward and come into your version of high plank. So your plank can be up on your hands like fellas or down on your forearms. Body straight. And you'll hold here. Press the shoulders into the floor so your back rises up. Heels pressed towards the back of the room. And then you'll come over onto that left hand or left forearm into your side plank. In this side plank, what you're doing is lifting from the lower body. This bottom hip is pressing up. Your head is in between the shoulders and you're not sinking into this right shoulder. And you'll reset and go over onto that right side plank. If at any point in these planks you're feeling really unsteady and wobbly, that top foot can come down onto the ground as a kickstand and then come back into your high plank. And slowly lower down onto your belly, rolling yourself over onto your back. We're going to go into our final pose, and it's going to be a spinal twist. So for this spinal twist, Fell's going to have his feet, his knees close together. He's going to have them hips width apart. If you have any pain in the knees, ankles, or lower back, this is your spinal twist version. If you have a little bit more flexibility and you're not working with any lower back pain, you can have your feet wider than your hips. Your arms come out into a T shape, and then you're going to drop those knees off to the right. You have the option to cross this leg over the right, tuck it underneath the thigh. You can leave those knees stacked and take your hand and place it on the thigh for a little bit more resistance. Final variation, one that I really like for the hip crease and the thigh, is to take this top leg and bring the top of the foot to the mat behind that left hip. That left arm can lift and lengthen through the whole side of the body. Now bring yourself back to center. Knees come back to center. And cross it all over. Drop it over to the left side. As you start to feel comfortable in one version of this pose, begin to add the breath awareness. Feel the body rise and fall with each breath. Notice how it affects the sensation in your hips and your back. How can you use your breathing to increase your stretch? Go ahead and bring those knees back to center. Give them a hug back in towards your body. You can grab the shins. If that doesn't work for you, you can grab underneath the thighs. And then fully extend the body. So arms come up overhead, legs extend. Point the toes. Feel the stretch through the top of the foot and the ankle. And then flex your feet, pressing the heels away from your body. Press the knees gently toward the ground. You can add some movement through the fingers and toes. Rotate through the wrists. Stretching the forearms. And then you can just either find yourself at rest, swing your arms down to the side, palms face up, feet a little bit wider than the hips, and allow your body to just lay here for a moment. Or you can jump back up and get to work.